Do you have the right number of warehouses in your distribution network? It's a question that I get asked all of the time. How many should we have? That's the topic for this week, coming right up. So it's a really common question that I get asked all of the time. How many warehouses should we have in our distribution network? It's not an easy question to answer because the answer is different for every sort of business. And it also depends on the geography, the country you're in, the type of products. But you know, the most important thing, the thing that has the biggest impact on your distribution network shape is your customer service offer. And that's where I suggest that people always start. Now, why do I say that? Well, just think about it for a minute. If you have a customer service offer of, let's say, 4-hour service. So what I mean by that is as soon as you place your order, customer, we guarantee, that we'll have the product delivered to you within 4 hours. That's a really fast turnaround, isn't it? But I've had consulting customers that do that. But whatever it is, 4 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours, that determines above everything else how many warehouses you have in your network. Why? It's pretty simple. Let's pick an easier service offer. Let's say a next day delivery. So typically that might be, if you order before 2 p.m., we will guarantee to deliver your product tomorrow. What that means is I've got to be holding stock close enough to all of my customers to be able to provide that next day delivery. In an extreme, I actually had one client ask me to model a distribution network for a 4-hour service delivery window, and that was in Australia. They had, I think at the time, 40 warehouses, so it was big national business. And he said, just curious, how many warehouses would we need with a 4-hour service delivery window? And it was 72. So the point I'm making is the offer you have for your customers absolutely drives the number of warehouses, the number of stock holding points you have in your network, unless you're sending out all the product by drones or helicopter. But let's assume it's all going out by road transport. So, do other things have an impact on the shape of your network? Absolutely they do. So your sources of supply, maybe that's internal, or maybe you're buying from external suppliers, maybe you're importing. The reliability of that supply, that's going to have an impact on the inventory levels in the warehouses, certainly. The channels of distribution. So during 2020, what a lot of businesses have seen is a massive growth in their online distribution and their home deliveries, particularly. That will drive a different requirement for warehouses in your network. A lot of retail stores, for example, don't do home delivery orders out of their distribution centers, their warehouses. They'll do them out of some of the retail stores, maybe during the nighttime when the stores are not active with customers. Or you've probably heard about the trend towards dark stores. That's happened a lot too in grocery retail. So where they basically decommission a retail store and turn it into a mini warehouse to service that local area. So the configuration would change a bit and staff are going around picking individual orders. So the key point I want to make here is that your customer service offer absolutely drives the shape of your network. And by shape, I mean where your stock holding facilities are and the number of them. So do you have the right number of warehouses in your network? That's kind of, I guess, me throwing back the question to you. How would you know? If you've got the wrong number, and it's very hard to tell sometimes, but you'll probably see an increasing trend in distribution costs because the networks become very inefficient. You'll probably see an impact on customer service because you've probably got the incorrect allocation of customers to warehouses and hence the distribution cost is going up. You've probably also be seeing a rise in inventory levels. And so service down, cost going up, and very often it's very hard to know why that's happening. So if that's happening in your organization, I always say start with the customer service offer. Have a good look at that. Make sure that it's right, that it's being adhered to. And of course, when I say customer service offer, most businesses these days don't just have one. They'll have a number of service offers for different types of customers in their business. So have a look at the service offer, and does that make sense? Then have a look at the profitability of all of your products and customers. And I talk endlessly on this channel about cost to serve. That's what I mean there. Have a look at the actual cost of servicing different customers in your network with different products. And that will highlight some issues. And then you can start to look at alternative networks. It's not just about the number of warehouses in your network, though. It's what those warehouses are doing. So, for example, a lot of very large retailers might have warehouses or distribution centers that are doing different activities. So, for example, they might have a full range DC in, 3 or 4 locations across the country. They might have a fast range, the fastest movers in every DC in the country. They might have only one DC in the country that has the very slow movers in it. So as well as the number of distribution centres and where they're located, you've also got to think about the stocking policy. And are you going to hold the same stuff in every distribution centre? So I'm talking a little bit here about retail, but the same is true of many different industries. We do a lot of work in oil and gas and industrial companies, and it's exactly the same there. Here's a good example. Think of lifts and escalators and things like that, in big office buildings and shopping malls. Do you hold all of the spares for all of those in all of your warehouses? Maybe not. You're going to actually do that ABC analysis of the inventory and make sure that the real showstoppers, the things that are going to stop the machinery working, those are going to be held kind of in every location. But maybe the lower priority sort of routine maintenance parts and spares, they could be held more centrally because they're not required so urgently. So see how it all kind of gels together? It's mainly driven by the customer service offer, but then you've got to look at your inventory policies as well. So there we go, a bit of a rambling answer to a very common question. How many distribution centers do I need in my network? If you've got any comments or questions on distribution networks, do comment down below. I love to get lots of questions. There's lots of other videos on this channel actually about distribution networks, and I touched on cost to serve, so I'll put links to those in the description down below the video. Hey, if it's your first time on the channel, welcome. Do think about subscribing to the channel. You're just going to hit that little red subscribe button, and if you hit the bell, you'll be notified every time we have a new video coming out, and we try to get them out every week. So thanks for watching. I'll look out for your comments. Do share the channel with some of your colleagues that you think might be interested in these topics as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.